Good evening, lads and ladies. Stormlord here. And today I thought we would try something different, just to be different, because I think every single one has been different. Instead of full YouTube videos, we're now just going to look at shorts. This way it's all quicker, more impactful, and I can talk in between them. Let's try and keep this video under 15 and see how snappy we can get. Let's shorten for shorts. Let's begin with Juicy Loot Incorrupted. Let's pause it. Let's get a shout out creator first. This is Mage Potemkin. And let's see how he goes. He's using dual daggers. Pressing a warbow. So that warbow made a huge mistake, basically threw damage straight into his retaliate. Exceptional. Yeah, you don't want to get too close to a dual daggers, dude. We'll give that a little like. Wait, that isn't a dual daggers. I'm an idiot. It's a one-handed dagger. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, you don't want to get too close to them. Do you have Shadow Edge? Yeah, 4 seconds on his Shadow Edge. That warbow played way too close. That would be my advice. I shall say it. GG. The only time I have ever done corrupteds, surprising side tangent, is I played with a warbow and I was flat 4 and I nearly killed a 7-1. So the warbow is exceptionally strong, but not when you're using it like a shotgun, getting nice and close. It's not where its strength lies. You really don't want him to get even the slightest angle on that. He should have hit and he should have gotten out, but maybe he had the wrong skills. Actually, let's watch this again. What's his W? Okay, that was my mistake. I thought he had the retaliate. I wasn't paying attention. So basically, he triggered his retaliate way too early. But he was also expecting an attack from Mage. Yeah, dude, like he played way too close. I'm kind of trying to wonder, am I not seeing his W? I don't think I'm seeing his W. What's the bow's W? So invis jacket. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's a fucking ray of light. Yeah, yeah, I would have gone well back. But maybe he was trying to play a little bit of like a close game so that he's because of the shadow edge. But yeah, well, Mage's build is actually a pretty consistent one. It's been around for a while, is what I meant to say. Shadow Edge, you put the I think he's got the Skinner cap on his head, and the one that drops the bear trap, which locks him in place for a long time, which with the one-handed dagger is just devastating. So not really much he could have done, but his initial mistake is the same for yeah, played way too close. Okay, this is Tame the Ark. So basically what I'm going to do is just watch the shorts. Normally when you watch shorts or TikTok or anything like that, you go too far down, it starts throwing you back into your algorithm, and you start moving away from Albion Online. So as soon as it starts to move away from Albion Online, we'll go back to the original point, and we'll go from there. Okay. One-handed dagger destroys fists in Albion Online. Okay. Well, yeah, he played it really aggressive. Super aggressive. Honestly, it looks like the fist didn't even really have time to react. I understand, like, it would have been a much larger screen, so the fist was watching him, but then he just got surprised. Oh yeah, he's dismounted. Idiot. He dismounted 3 seconds before his timer comes up. Well, yeah, the talk set does as it says it does. Seems like someone's been studying. It seems like a few of them have been studying the current metas, possibly. So when you're looking for a build, especially if you want to engage in like mists or hellgates or corrupted dungeons, it's not a terrible idea to look at the weapon that's doing the most work. There's a few websites out there you can check out. I cannot think of them off the top of my head. As my previous story indicated, it's not really my kind of content. But I do know that these exist. And not only that, it's a great way to meet other exceptional PvPers because every single corrupted dungeon is a possible two-man hellgate. So if you have a really good fight, you get along well, you're talking PMs, you end up with a roster of other exceptional PvPers that you can call upon for content whenever. It doesn't matter the guild. So if you really want to go down this path, building your roster of other players that you can play with so that you are not always burning out on corrupted dungeons, instead can go to maybe 2-man, up to a 5-man, up to a 10-man. If you enjoy that kind of gameplay and playstyle. So yeah, and of course mists are just kind of the open world version of that. Of the 1v1 and the 2v2. And yeah. But yeah, one-handed dagger. Back in the day, the one-handed dagger had like a poison hit, kind of like the poison shot on the bow, and it was insanely weak. And no, it was one of the worst weapons to ever exist. And then this skill changed, and the E became this self-heal thing. And originally, it was broken as like they were just deleting and eating people alive with it. But it's been corrected back to a place where, yeah, it's back in the field where things can fight it. I think the only mistake of the person who died here was that he'd dismounted, thinking that he'd have the 3 seconds, not realizing that Tame was going to jump him really quickly. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Slow it down. This is from a content Kyoto? Kyoto. This is content Kyoto by the name of Haikataka. And so he is the tier 7 Grail Seeker. I love the Grail Seeker. It's a great little staff. I love the core staff tree, if I'm being for real. And then we're versing one-handed. Oh, wait a second. Wait. So that's them versing them. Okay. Interesting. Well, firstly, this comp, huge. Just the stun W on that. Well, even it's freaking it's E, fantastic. It locks them for such a long time. That dagger's going to kill one of them. And normally in a 2v2, once you got one down, you can wail on the other. That's my prediction for this one. Okay. That was interesting to see the two things. So let's start watch the beginning again. Let's watch what the fists do because they actually it doesn't look good for Nuka, some hiker, in the beginning because these guys come in strong with their combo first. I kind of want to see what they did right at the very beginning. But by the way, the quarterstaff tree and a high level DPS, some of the strongest two-man, can be one of the strongest two-man comps out there. Yeah, you use this, and if you're reversing a healer, the healer has to die, because if the healer lives, you do not have you don't have much to last long enough. So watch carefully. He's going to come in hard. Yep. Okay, so that's a royal helm. That barrel that comes from a thing. It's there to stun. What these guys did really well is he's like they shouldn't really be far. Getting him off the field might not be a terrible idea just because he's going to lock that. They basically hit each other at the same time, I think. Yeah, they did. So the Grail Seeker hit him with a stun run. The other guy Royal Helmed him. So they're both the comp is actually the same, despite different weapons. You've got the heavy CC frontliner, and so they hit each other identical at the same point. And then these are the two glass cannon DPS. And you see how I just threw all his damage there, but Nuka dodged that. Oh, crazy damage. What makes their build interesting is that they both have two very strong high damage E's. So this is where he's going to start to play the long game because he has more options. There it is. He's locked him with his E. Oh, shit. Yeah. So the other thing too that he did really well is that he didn't just like slam all of his E's down. He held one. That's one of the Grail Seeker's strongest thing that it has over most of the other quarterstaffs is that the quarterstaffs are normally a one hit. The Grail Seeker has the ability to place two of those lines of light, which will stun and lock them. So if you stagger it, you can actually time it one after the other, which creates a really long stun and a lock in place. And when it's around a one-handed dagger, you need to keep moving, otherwise that dagger is going to close on you, and it's not going to be a good time unless you've got like retaliate, and the one-handed dagger is an idiot and doesn't know to just like wait it out until his cooldown comes back. Cool. So that is Hiker. Doing good. How are we looking? Jesus Christ, we're nearly at 15 minutes already. This is going good. Solo Boss Lair Massacre. Okay, we did need something a little bit different. Using dual swords. Okay. That's a unique ability. Like I know you could do that, but I was always too scared to get into the spinning blades. So he's eat himself into them. Like you could probably do that with a double bladed. Now that I think about it, that's my favorite weapon, the double bladed. Not high damage, but its control is nearly unmatched. Did it always used to do that? Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, at the very least, this is a really great video to teach you that, yeah, if you stand right on top of them, the spinning blade doesn't work. 500,000. Yeah, I suppose you could even scale that up. This is a tier 4 roads. So, 500,000 for tier 4, not too bad. Cool. Very cool. So this is Black Zone Open World ganking. He's either being ganked or he's ganking. Oh, the drama. Mists. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's the new fire stuff. Okay. He's turned comments off. I think it's a cool, unique. Like I'm a huge fan of keeping all recordings of times you've died, because you'll it's like any like shot caller will ever say is like is while the compilations of the glorious victories are awesome, sometimes you're lucked out. And you may have been missing some very considerable weaknesses. It's only that, your enemy's weaknesses were so much larger or more obvious. So taking the time to actually go through recorded footage of every time you die and not approaching it in an emotional way, but instead just how could I have played that differently is definitely uh, just worth having privately if you really enjoy PvPing, even like PvEing, doing dungeons. Sometimes guilds will just straight up just record their dungeons over and over to see whether they can optimize it further. I start to get antsy when people over optimize things because I think sometimes a bit of a shit show can be a lot more entertaining considering how much you have to grind. Um, but yeah, so that was pretty good. So it was a different kind of style. It meant that I could actually watch the whole, like a whole media. It just felt like I was only taking tiny little clips um, from bigger videos. So this was kind of cool. Um, so that was it. It feels weird. Like I feel like I've not even started, which is probably the problem. So I will see you tomorrow.